Hey everybody, Steve here in Palm Springs. I'm here in a neighborhood called Racket Club Estates, and I'm in the car right now because the neighborhood boundary starts on Racket Club Road, and Racket Club Road is really busy and really noisy, so I thought I'd better tell you where I am in the car so you could actually hear me. You may not be able to hear me when I'm out talking in front of the house. One of the houses that I'm going to walk by today belonged to a very, very famous and very popular Hollywood actor who I'm guessing all of you have heard of. I'll be surprised if there's someone who hasn't heard of this very famous Hollywood actor. And I had no idea that he lived here until just recently. And in the same neighborhood, or at least pretty close, just a few blocks away, is another famous actor, another person who I think you'll all know, or at least you'll know the show that he was on. If you don't remember him exactly, I'm willing to bet that all of you know the show that he was on. These are two of the most popular TV shows of all time, and these two actors live just a few blocks from one another. So I'm going to take my walk around this neighborhood this morning. It's a beautiful morning. It's, I think, almost 80 degrees already. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning. It feels like a late spring, early summer day. It's kind of crazy because it's supposed to get back down into the highs being in the 50s by the end of the week, and it's supposed to rain again. So our weather this year has just been all over the place, from really, really cold to really, really warm. And I may even get a suntan on my walk this morning here in January of 2024 in Palm Springs. So let's go walk by the first house and see what it looks like up close. Racket Club's a pretty busy street here, but the homes are really nice. And I guess people who live on this street just aren't really bothered by the traffic noises very much. I've mentioned in previous videos that my grandparents used to live almost at the top of the hill here. Take Racket Club all the way up to where it ends, almost at the top of the hill, and that's where they lived. They died back in the 1970s, and then a couple of new developments were added beyond where they lived, up a little bit above where they lived. This is a beautiful mid-century modern home, built around the same time as my grandparents back in the early 1960s. I mean, this could have been 1950s. Definitely a busy street, but the neighborhood itself, once we go back into the side streets, is a lot quieter. It's really beautiful, isn't it? So according to the Celebrity Palm Springs Home guidebooks, this was the former home of Jackie Coogan, Uncle Fester, on the ADDAMS Family TV show back in the 1960s, and he lived here from 1975 until his death in 1984. And it's weird because we lived here in Palm Springs, up the hill, and we used to pass by here all the time, and Jim and I still pass by this house every week on the way to grocery shopping and just about everything else. I mean, Racket Club Road here is a central street, and we drive past this house every week, multiple times, and I never had any idea that Uncle Fester used to live here. Pretty cool, huh? Now, Carolyn Jones, who played Morticia on this show, also lived here in Palm Springs, about, probably 2-3 miles from here. And after I'm done walking in this neighborhood, I'm going to drive up and see if I can find her home. I don't know if it's gated or surrounded by a hedge or anything, but I know the address, so I'm going to drive up there and see if I can show you her house as well. So this is the corner of Racket Club and Caballeros. Avenue Caballeros. I don't know if you can see that there. Pointing the camera into the sun. So I'm going to start by walking down this street, and I'm going to walk completely around the neighborhood, and then there's a couple of streets inside the neighborhood. Look at this beautiful home on Avenue Caballeros, just one house in from the corner of Racket Club Road. Beautiful mid-century modern home. I always like these corrugated metal gates here. Now this one looks like it might be a newer home, just built in the mid-century modern style. Not sure. Or maybe it's just been remodeled, kept up really well. Pretty cool driveway. Love the desert landscaping. Another one that's just so clean and nice. I love this desert landscaping. I love this so much. I like this so much more than grass. And aren't those cool bricks? And the mountain views here are pretty spectacular. I guess that's why they've got their patio in the front yard, so they can take advantage of these beautiful mountain views. Look at that. This is a fairly busy street, but not too busy. This is another one that to me looks new. I'm pretty sure this is a newer home, just built in the mid-century modern style. So I'm at the corner here of Francis Drive and Caballeros, and I think that's the end of the block here for this neighborhood. And so I'm going to make a right. But look at this pink wall. I like that. It kind of looks like a pink house, but I'll visit that neighborhood in another video. This one says Casa Cheetah. I wonder if this is where Cheetah used to live. I know Cheetah was a big draw back here, back in the day, back in the 60s, I think. And right across the street, now these are all new homes, modern homes. Doing some remodeling here, which looks nice. This street is, we're still on Francis, but I'm going to make a right-hand turn here on Aurora. I don't know if you can see the sign there. Now, I'm not sure we're still in the Racket Club Estates neighborhood. It might just be that side of the street. I'll see what it says on this side of the street up here at the corner. Yeah, it looks like it's just the other side of the street is Racket Club Estates. But I do want to go down Adobe because there's someone famous who lived here and actually died here at this home just a couple of years ago. And just a couple doors down. So I thought they were in the same neighborhood, but I guess they're adjacent neighborhoods. The address I'm looking for is 1370 Adobe. So let's walk down here. I think it's just this white house up ahead on the left. I guess it's a few more houses down. These all look very similar in similar color. Okay, it must be this one. Yeah, 1370. I had no idea that he lived here. Remember John Paragon, also known as Jambi The Genie on Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse? He lived here and died, I believe it was 2022, so about a year and a half ago. His cause of death, according to reports, was heart disease and chronic alcoholism. He was only 66 years old. Now, the reason I know about this house and the fact that he died here was because of Scott Michaels. Scott Michaels came here about, I think it was maybe a year ago. He shared a video on his YouTube channel, Dearly Departed Tours, and talked about the fact that John Paragon lived here and died here. And back then, when Scott Michaels was here, I guess he had just died maybe 6 to 9 months earlier, I think. I hadn't heard that John lived here or that he died here. So thank you, Scott, for sharing that video. So when I looked up the address on Google and realized, I mean, when Scott was here, I recognized the neighborhood. I knew exactly where it was, but I didn't realize how close it was to Jackie Coogan's former Palm Springs home. And he lives, even though apparently the neighborhoods do have different names, or this neighborhood actually doesn't have a name. Jackie Coogan's neighborhood, which is right across the street, his neighborhood's called the Racket Club Estates, but it's only 2-3 blocks away. So Uncle Fester and Jambi the Genie both lived here in Palm Springs, just a few blocks away from each other at different times. I don't know how many years John Paragon lived here, but Jackie Coogan died back in the 1980s. So they were neighbors 4 or 5 decades apart. But I'm wondering if John knew that Jackie lived here in the past. That would be interesting. That would have been interesting to know. Now, some of you may remember from my other channel, the Graveyard Channel, I recently took a trip up to Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Hadn't been there in, gosh, probably 2 years. And I visited John Paragon's cremation niche. He was cremated, and he's located in one of the glass display cases, and I'll show you that. I'll find that video and I'll show you my visit to his final resting place, or the niche where he was inurned. Apparently, Cassandra Peterson, his friend, held on to his ashes for a while, and then they were eventually placed, and they had a ceremony. And it's really frustrating that this neighborhood is so quiet and peaceful this morning. It's just a beautiful, beautiful neighborhood to walk in on a morning like this when there's no wind, because this is the windier part of town, so it can get pretty windy here in other parts of the year, but right now, winter, there's usually not much wind here. So this is the nicest time of year to walk in the northern part of Palm Springs, but it's very frustrating and pretty annoying that the only gardeners here, the only person using a leaf blower making a lot of noise, is right at the house that I came to visit. All right, so this is Aurora, and I think I'm gonna walk down that street, although I haven't walked down this street here. This is actually, let me walk down this street first, then I'll come back and walk down these side streets here, which are sort of in the middle of this neighborhood, the Racket Club Estates neighborhood. It looks like these center streets here are cul-de-sacs, so I'll just walk down the cul-de-sacs. I want to get as much walking in today as possible, get my steps in. This is Luna Circle. Oh, look, there's a tiki. Tikis used to be so popular back in the 60s, and they still are here in Palm Springs. That's a nice one. That's really pretty, and it sounds like the leaf blower has followed me over here. That usually happens in the cemeteries. Just follow me around from grave to grave, so this guy's just following me around, I guess, from house to house today. That's okay. This cul-de-sac is called Gem Circle. That's really pretty. So this one is going to take me all the way back to the other end, which is fine. Padua Way. Someone else out getting their exercise today. He's kind of been following me around, but that's okay. He's not making any noise. So which do you prefer, grass or desert landscape? I'm 100% a fan of desert landscape. Never been a big fan of grass, especially in the desert when we're trying to conserve water. Okay, looks like there's a little free library here. I like the turquoise here. So it looks like they've enclosed their carport, turned it into a room instead of a carport. But they got this really large circular driveway, so they probably don't need the driveway. I mean the carport. Now that's a fun door. Look at that. Simple but really nice landscaping. This is what the carports looked like before some of them were enclosed. But when these homes were originally built, as I've mentioned in other videos, most of them did have carports. And I do remember my grandparents, it was just an asphalt driveway. They didn't have cement driveways back then, back in the 60s. Cement driveways came years later, at least in Southern California. The homes we grew up all had asphalt driveways. I guess it was a lot cheaper back then. But they didn't last very long, and so once they deteriorated, I guess someone finally figured out it'd be a much better idea to replace them with cement driveways like this. And this is what everyone has now. Now this is very clean, look at this. Very minimalistic, I love this. And it looks like they've enclosed their breezeway with glass. It's interesting. Isn't that cool? I really like this style a lot. Another nice one where they've enclosed the carport and turned it into a garage, or at least the front end. It actually looks like it's open in the back. That's actually fairly common too, where there's just a garage door, but it's not really an enclosed garage. They get so hot, it's sometimes better just to leave them open so they can get some air. Love the pink bricks. This is a pretty one. Looks like they've got some artwork on the front, which is nice. Let's see what this looks like up close. Yeah, it's really nice. See the open carport? Some more yard artwork. Now this one's interesting. It looks like they have the original mid-century on the right, and then they've just added this addition to the left. Almost looks like a two-story, but at least maybe just a single story with very high ceilings. Interesting. All right, so we're back to Aurora and Adobe. We're across the street from John Paragon's house. We're down the street and across. So his house was right behind where that red car is pulling out. This looks more like a private jet. I just checked my walking app and I've only walked about a little over a mile. Could that be right? This is a pretty small neighborhood. I've been walking for about an hour, but more like a stroll, just walking around sightseeing. All right, so I definitely need to walk at least another couple of miles. So I'm going to drive up to the other neighborhood I mentioned earlier, and there are a couple of other homes that people have asked about. They want to see updates from the last time that I visited, so I'm going to drive by those homes. Dean Martin's former home and Elvis's home. I drove by that the other day. They're doing some major construction on the homes next door, so I want to get a little closer look and see what that's all about. And that is up in the neighborhood where Carolyn Jones, who played Morticia on the Addams Family, where she once lived. She was living here at the same time that Uncle Fester was living here. So all right, so I'm going to head back to the car and then we'll drive up the hill a little bit, just a few miles from here. I'm kind of surprised to see that almost nothing has been done, or maybe nothing, completely nothing has been done on Dean Martin's former Palm Springs home since the last time I was here to give you all an update, which was about, 6 months ago, maybe a year ago. It looks like it's just sitting here and doesn't look like anything has been done since the last time I was here. So for all of you who asked me to come by and give an update, this is the update. Pretty much it looks exactly the same as the last update. So I'll try back in another 6 months or a year and see if anything is going on. It could be a matter of getting permits to do whatever it is they want to do. I don't know, maybe they're trying to tear it down, and I think that would probably not be allowed. I mean, it is a mid-century modern home, and so that could be part of the delay if they're trying to change the design. And These mid-century modern homes are very, very protected here in Palm Springs. We're famous for our mid-century modern homes here, so that could be, if whoever is renovating this is trying to change the style, that could be causing a delay. I don't know, I'm just guessing. But yeah, it doesn't look like, yeah, it doesn't really look like anything's been done. Hopefully they are doing something, or at least planning to do something at some point. So I'll be back. Just remind me in 6 months or a year, and I'll come back and see if there's any more progress at that point. So now I'm going to head up the street, make a left. It's not very far away, and I'll show you what's going on at the Elvis honeymoon house, the home where Elvis and Priscilla had their honeymoon back in the 1960s. It's changed quite a bit, and the two homes, or the homes on each side of the home, the last time I drove by, I just kind of glanced as I drove by, and it looked like they'd been torn down and they were being rebuilt, and they look similar, so I don't know what's going on there. I know some of you are just as familiar with this home, this Elvis home, as I am, and I mean, every vlogger has been here to film it over the years. But look at this. This was an empty lot here, so that hasn't changed, but this one over here to the left looks like both homes have been leveled. And Elvis's former home is now white instead of pink. It's always been pink since I was a kid. I think it was originally pink. But look at this. I mean, have they just expanded the Elvis house? Is this going to be part of the Elvis house, or are these just two new homes? I'm so curious now. I'm thinking maybe whoever bought the Elvis house maybe bought both of these. I think there were two homes over here, actually. So did they buy them out and demolish them, and what are they building now? So this is very, very different than the last time I was here. I think they're on lunch break. It's 11 o'clock. And I guess they're over there doing something. So Robert and Helen Alexander, House of Tomorrow. I don't know if you can read that or see that. I guess white looks nice. I mean, I'm so used to seeing it in pink, it seems odd to change the color from this landmark pink house to white, but it still looks nice. At least they haven't changed that house, Elvis's former home. But yeah, the home, I think there were two homes here, and now they are gone. I would love to know the story, so if any of you happen to know what happened to them and what's planned for here, let us know in the comments section. And I'll just, as always, I'll come back and I'll check back and and keep you updated on what these homes look like when they're completed. I'm sure I'll come back before they're completed. I can't even imagine how expensive this must have been. Oh yeah, look at, they're putting like a retaining wall. Ooh, that looks really cool. Oh, nice. Huh. So an underground garage and stuff. That looks really beautiful. Huh. Well, it'll be fun to see what that turns into. Oh, and what's going on up here? There are a bunch of people with yellow umbrellas on some kind of a tour. Oh, I think this is the walking tour of the Hollywood homes, the Hollywood stars who lived here in the desert. And I guess this woman wants me to run over her. Is this the Historical Society tour?
Yes.
Oh, nice. Whose house is this?
She's just pointing out the palms right here.
Oh, okay. Nice. That's a good idea, umbrellas. I should take an umbrella when I do my walks. So that's really cool, huh? Alright, so the home that I wanted to show you, this one looks like it's being renovated, is it this street here? Well, I just put the address into my GPS, but there's no reception here. There's no connection, so nothing is coming up. I think it's down here, though. I know the name of the street. It's not one that not a street I've ever been on before. And when I looked at home online, it was a cul-de-sac that I didn't know was back here. This is the Vista Las Palmas neighborhood, and so all three of these homes are in this Vista Las Palmas neighborhood. And let's see, is this, yeah, Los Robles Circle. Okay, so, yeah, unfortunately, Vista Los Robles. This, according to the Celebrity Home Guidebooks, is where actress Cindy Williams used to live, and she lived here from 1983 to 2003. Remember Cindy Williams from Laverne and Shirley? Who was a fan of Shirley Feeney. I love that show. I love both of them and the show. And I had no idea. I'd never been back to this last street here. I had no idea that, I'm going to get out the sun. The sun's right in my face. Then I'll walk this neighborhood in another video. Today I just wanted to come by and see if I could get in to see Cindy Williams's Palm Springs home, but unfortunately it's this little gated enclave. It's a little cul-de-sac, very short cul-de-sac. I think there's probably only, I don't know, 6 homes, 8 homes. It doesn't really surprise me. I mean, the fact that she lived here and would be in a gated community, I'm surprised more of them are not. Unfortunately, I'm looking right into the sun, so this is not a good angle, but this is where Shirley Feeney, or Cindy Williams, used to live. I had to get out of the sun. It was like right on my face. It's so intense right now. So I started to say that Tom Bosley, if I remember right, he lived here in Palm Springs. I don't know how long he lived here, but he died, I'm gonna have to look up the year now. I can't remember. It seems like it was probably 10 years ago that he died, and I believe he died here in Palm Springs. And at the time, I didn't look up his address. I was very busy. I was still working, and I didn't really have time to go check out to see where his home was located. Or maybe I did, I just don't remember now. Because I do seem to remember that it was, his home was here either in Old Las Palmas or Vista Las Palmas, and this is Vista Las Palmas where Cindy Williams lived. So I wouldn't be at all surprised. I'm going to see if I can find it. I'll look it up. I wouldn't be at all surprised if they were neighbors, if he also lived in this gated community here in Vista Las Palmas. So I'll check that out and I'll share that with you if I can find that. But right now, let me just turn the camera around. So these are the gates. So that's all I can show you are the gates to Cindy Williams's former Palm Springs home. I don't know if you can see the sign there. It says Vista Las Palmas. And she was on the right-hand side, almost down to the end of the street on the right-hand side. At least when I looked on Google Maps. You can see the beautiful mountain views behind. Beautiful neighborhood, isn't it? I'll definitely come back for a walk here. I'm not surprised that the home is behind a hedge here. Most of the estates, really large, nice estates here are. I was kind of surprised that Jackie Coogan's home wasn't behind a hedge. But back in the day, back in the 60s and 70s, you really didn't need as much privacy. There wasn't as much information about how to find celebrity homes back then, or even that celebrities lived in some of these homes back then, unless they open their house to the public or they happen to be in the newspaper talking about their homes here. But there just wasn't as much crime and as much of everything that there is today, so you didn't need to worry about it as much. So according to the Palm Springs Celebrity Home Guidebooks, Carolyn Jones, Morticia on the ADDAMS Family, lived here in 1974, and the house itself, I believe, was built in 1945. But as you can see, it's under construction now, or it's being renovated. So there's really not much to see. But it's kind of interesting over the years to see how these homes are maintained, and this one looks like it's being maintained very well. Now, right at the end of the street here is Palm Canyon Drive, and right at the on the left at the corner is the Trixie Motel. So it gives you an idea of where this is located. I've been to this neighborhood a number of times and shared videos, so that should give you a little bit of an idea. So once again, thank you for joining me on another walk around another Palm Springs neighborhood, and this time a drive around a couple of others. And thank you to all of you who have taken the time to subscribe to this channel and to leave comments and to give these videos thumbs up and to share them with your friends. It's all very, very appreciated. So until next time, thanks for sharing the memories, everybody.